Hey you guys, Christine here from Magenta Goddess, and I came here to talk to you about your relationship or our relationship with our children. And I wanted to talk to you about an episode that I had with my dad and I, right? I don't even know how old I was. I was like a young teenager, maybe like if I was even 14, maybe I was a bit younger. And he came and opened the door to me and put on a mask and then run straight up to me, attacked me, threw me on the bed, and then eventually like he would take the mask off. I don't know if he tickled me or something. And in that moment, what I felt was I knew it was my dad because he opened the door and I knew it was my dad, right? But there was also a part of me that froze in shock and felt attacked that moment. And I just recently traveled this, and it's just so amazing. Okay, this is to breed compassion. Because here's me standing in court being attacked by men, right? They haven't even read my affidavit, and I come into the courtroom and I'm being attacked. Why am I doing this? And that I want only, nasty things for my ex-partner and all of these sort of things. And you'd be like, well, what even happened? I just entered the room and I'm already being attacked, right? Like, where is this coming from? Have you read my material that I have submitted? Like, I'm not here to backstab anyone or attack anyone, really, right? And this is really interesting because the original wound of all of this happening throughout my life, where I felt attacked by people or, judges in court and all of this, has come from that very moment when my dad opened the door, put on the mask, and ran flat out towards me. And my dad's intentions were purely just to play with me. He had pure intentions of wanting to play with me. He didn't want to scare me. He didn't want to intimidate me. He didn't want to frighten me. He didn't want to do anything like that. He just simply wanted to play with me. Now, right? As a parent trying to raise the perfect children, trying to have the perfect relationship with your children, trying to there's so much pressure on us parents, right? As much as we put there, of course. But in that moment, he had pure intentions. Who would have thought that something like this would have such a massive impact on a child? Now, what does massive mean, right? Like, I'm still alive. It's not that it kind of down the track killed me or something like that, or disabled me or what, something. But I just found it so significant that it had that kind of impact with me, and it stuck with me throughout my whole life, because also at that point when that happened and he runs flat out towards me in my room, I have not felt that feeling of feeling attacked. Like it would have probably been a whole different thing if he would have checked in with me, like, how are you feeling? Like, and I would have said, wow, I actually felt attacked. I feel frozen. I feel shocked. Right? It has never been felt. I was like stuck with this feeling in my body the whole time. And it's not his fault. He wasn't away. He's just having fun. He was just playing with his daughter. It just had that kind of reaction. It had that kind of impact on me. So just because you're coming from pure intentions doesn't always mean other people receive them as pure intentions. Hence why, whether we are happy or not doesn't have any influence on another person's, whatever mood and feelings and energy and stuff. It can actually trigger someone. Even more so than if they see grumpy people everywhere. If they see grumpy people, they could go like, oh, at least, there's people that are grumpier than me. But sometimes when we are in a dark place and we see happy people, it can trigger us. It's like, why don't we have this? Like, I'm getting so angry. Why am I living this life? Which is great too, because then you get to feel it all. But you know what I'm saying? So just because you're having pure intentions doesn't always mean that the other person receives it the same way. So what is the solution? There's not really a solution to that. I'm only sharing this with you to raise awareness around this. Okay, so often when I write my posts, it feels like, oh, she's got like such mother issues and she has this thing with her mother, or like what terrible relationships, that's also negative, or what have you. Like there's sometimes I hear and sense those judgments around this, right? And I'm not wanting to it's not my intention to make my parents bad parents, and they're all it's their fault that I'm going through what I'm going through. It's not at all. All I'm saying is like, like, just because I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, and I have certain wounds or insecurities or whatever that may have the root in my childhood, doesn't make my parents bad parents. They were great parents, and I love them both. They still are. I love both of my parents. And I found that very interesting, because even if we have pure intentions and we show up for our children in that way, that's right, the main message. That doesn't necessarily mean our kids receive us the same way. Okay, so maybe it is good to sometimes check in and say, hey, how are you actually feeling? I had such fun. How was the day for you? And just sit with them and really be aware with them. And on the other hand, it's also a thing of, if there are certain lessons we are here to learn, or if certain events have to happen the way they have to happen, the universe will make it work. Because, for example, as from a dad's point of view, he was just playing, a pure intention of playing. He wasn't aware of any of that. And I wasn't at the time either, right? It's just like now that I'm healing all of the threads back, I'm like, oh, wow, this is where this came from. And so when I'm saying today, even if I'm having now pure intentions, doesn't necessarily mean, again, that my kid receives it that way, which means like, even if we feel like we are great parents because we feel like we are coming from that kind of place, our kids may not agree with that. They may not even, need what we think are pure intentions. They may be in a whole different space. So there's always this like kind of awareness, check in, where are you at, how are you feeling, that sort of thing. And yeah, apparently we do choose our parents and we choose our children and all of that. So if you're going through whatever you're going through, because I know, like, kids lose their parents, or people get kidnapped, or there's domestic violence, and people have to be separated, or they're separated, over countries, and all of this sort of stuff. Know that from a spiritual perspective, you have chosen that life. And I'm just writing this in my book. You have chosen this life, and this is not to say that you are deserving what you're going through. No, it's actually exactly the opposite. You have chosen this life. Your spirit has chosen to encounter those challenges that are presenting themselves, that are presenting themselves to them, whatever the grammar is around this. So it's more like with a wide open heart, and the courage and the bravery and the trust within that spirit, that whatever comes their way, no matter how old or young or whatever they are, and you are capable of facing it. You're capable of going through this. You chose this. Okay, so it's more like excuse me. It's more like an empowering point of view, an empowering perspective. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any insights, please share them with me. I'd love to hear from you. I'm doing 20-minute free family consultations if you want to check in with me on where you are at, and whether your family needs a little bit of a cleanup and so things are flowing easier again, or you're going through separation and you just want a bit of a lift up, or there's something you're struggling with and you don't know how to approach the situation, or you're unsure and doubting yourself, you need some clarity and guidance and direction through that, please send me a message. It's 20-minute free consultations. Bring your kids if you want to, or come by yourself, whatever feels right to you. Okay, so please send me a message. I'm here to support you through this. I've been doing this for like 5 years now, ever since I started. So have heaps of people even back then in refuge already reconnecting with their kids, and they've been writing letters and expressing themselves, and they've been all so grateful and seen the shifts instantly. So please, if you need any help in creating healthy family relationships with yourself, with your family, please send me a message. It's so dear to my heart to support you with that, and I'm being called to, so here I go, and offering that to you. You have really nothing to lose. So yeah, I'll thank you for watching this. I'll see you on Friday as well at Body Plus Spirit if you want to join me there. And yeah, I shall see you soon. Lots of love and happy vibes for your family.